1, 2, 3, 4. Hello there everybody and welcome to my channel, Lessons with Guitar Man. My name's Aaron and I'll be your designated driver here today for this really cool lesson on the one and only Jethro Burns. Now for those of you that don't know who Jethro Burns was, he is just one of the greatest jazz mandolin players of all time in my humble opinion. I think he's just one of the most fluid players I've ever heard in my life, and I just really love his mandolin playing. And for those of you that want to hear some of his recordings, I'll put a couple links in the description below so you can hear Jethro in action playing some things. So with this particular lesson here, a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting in my room playing the mandolin, and I came across a lesson on the Jethro Burns warm-up exercise, and I was like, oh wow, so I learned it on the mandolin and practiced it back and forth. And I picked up the guitar and I was like, you know, what if I transpose this over to guitar? Maybe it would kind of be cool. And so I did transpose it over, and boy, it sure turned out to be a really cool lesson and something that just blew my mind, because it's a little bit of a finger twister on the guitar, not real bad, but it's just so unusual and kind of more of in the way of like a mandolin or a fiddle player would approach playing scales. And I just find it to be so interesting to play, different than I would think of typically on the guitar, and something I think you're going to get a whole lot out of. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in here. I'm going to go through this lesson pretty quick because there's just so many notes and it'll just confuse you if you think about it too much. So I'm just going to roll through it and then I'll come back and give some final thoughts on this at the end and what you should pay attention to. So first and foremost, we're going to be playing over a G, and the first part is going to be a 3, 2, followed by a 5, 5. Okay, so 3, 2, 5, 5, followed by a 4, 3, 3. All right, and what you basically have here is the top part of a G, these two notes, and then this form of a bar chord using these notes, and you just go straight down from the low to the high, and it sounds like so. 3, 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3. All right, pretty straight, nothing more than a broken G chord or a G arpeggio straight down. Practice that over and over again until you get that in your head, and you'll hear if you make a mistake. I mean, it'll stick out like a sore thumb, so just go up and down it until you got that sound locked in, okay? Then what happens is once Jethro gets to the top of this G major arpeggio here, what he does is throws in a little riff idea on top, or a motif, and then come back down the arpeggio and get ready to go to the next chord. And he carries this motif across from the G to the A minor to the D, which I think is just absolutely genius in my humble opinion. So what he does here is when he gets to the G chord, he goes G, then squeaks all the way up here to the 7th fret, and then squeaks all the way back down here to the 2nd fret. All right, now that's a big jump. You're going to have to get used to moving that far. What I would recommend doing is just play this and get used to grabbing that note up there like that. It is a little difficult, but you can get it. If you have a hard time with your pinky, you can use this finger also. But I would recommend trying to use your pinky as much as possible. And then squeak all the way back down here with your pointer finger to the 2nd fret, then back up to the 5th, and back to the 3rd. Okay? So what you kind of have to do is get that little idea in your head. Like 3, up, back, up, 3, or... All right, now I make it look easy, but just listen, and it's... All right, now that's important because he basically more or less does the same thing on the A minor and the G, kind of, with the same motif, if you will. So it's important to get that in your head. And what I would do is practice that G arpeggio and work through that until you get it, and then come back down. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Let me run through the G. Working up. Jumping to 7, 2, 5, 3. Okay? So it's really not that bad. You just have to get that in your head, the da 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 da, or down, up, back, up, down. Okay. All right, now what we're going to do is come straight down this G major arpeggio and stop on the 2, followed by an open 5th string or an A note, like that. And that's what's going to carry us over to the A minor. So if I go through this whole thing here slowly, it's going to sound like so. 1, 2, ready, go. The little motif, back down G, open A. All right. Now that is absolutely fantastic and cool in itself. Practice that over and over and over again until you have that to where you don't have to think about it. So let's go ahead and take a look now at this A minor chord. When we're playing over the A minor, I've written it in the tablature 2 different ways, and let me show you the 2 different ways that I do it here. The first one is going to be starting here when you hit the open A, coming off the G, you go, all right, and then what I'm going to do is work from the open position to the 5th fret here, and it's going to be open, 3, 2, 2, and that's pretty straight. So you got open, 3, 2, 2, and then we're going to squeak up here to the 5th fret with your pinky and grab 5, 5, 5, okay? Now you can also do that with your pointer finger and position shift like so. I'll do it both ways for you. So the way number 1 with the pinky is going to be open, 3, 2, 2, 5, 5, 5. Now you might find that a little bit difficult, again, for those of you that don't use your pinky very much. So I'll use a position shift this time, and that'll go like so. Open, 3, 2, 2, 5, 5, 5. Okay? All right, now the second way that I came up with using this is using a big position shift, where we're going from here basically to here, or thinking over this A minor, okay? And what I do is when you're coming down the G arpeggio and you hit that open A, when you hit that open A, it gives you just enough time to get your pinky right here to the 8th fret to get in position for this A minor shape right here. And that's going to go like so. If I'm coming down the G, it's going to be, and okay, so that open A gives you time to travel with your pinky to the 8th fret, and then you're going to go 7, 7, followed by the 5, 5, 5 again. Okay, so that one actually turns out to be pretty easy, except for the position shift part. So let me go ahead and play through that slowly, coming down the G here. All right, well, if you want to get the backing tracks, the tab, the guitar profiles, the iReel profiles, the PDF documents, and so much more information going along with this lesson, you can go to patreon.com/lessonswithguitarman, and all that information will be available there for you. So now we need to do our little motif on the A minor on the top string, and that's going to go like so. You're going to have a 5, 8, 7, 5, 4, 7, 5. So 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so you just have to get that little sound under your thumb. It's basically using a diminished scale on top of an A minor chord, which is really kind of a jazz or a gypsy jazz thing. Regardless, you're going to be using these 2 and these 2 notes, okay? And then what you're going to do is come down the A minor and stop right here on the 7th fret on the 4th string. So let me play that whole piece. 1, 2, ready, go. All right. Now let's play the whole A minor piece coming out of the G arpeggio to the A. So 1, 2, ready, go. Now that is really cool in my opinion, and will definitely twist your ear a little bit because of that A flat or the G sharp note in there, which kind of twists the ear a little bit and kind of puts us into harmonic minor maybe for a second, or I guess using the diminished scale depending on how you're looking at it. I'm kind of think of it as harmonic minor and diminished, which one it is, I don't know. Maybe one of you theory buffs out there can tell me. But regardless, that's what it sounds like. So practice that up and down, back and around. Do it from the open position to the 5th, and then the position shift up to the 8th. See which one works until you got that under your thumb. And then what I would do is practice the G through the A minor and just do those two back and forth. All right, well, that's a wrap on this lesson. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. If you have any questions for me, feel free to send me an email listed below in the description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you down the road.